Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a review for Maeve, which was my most recent read, and it was the very first book for the Genre Snaps book club chat. So we had that earlier today. So you are welcome to also join Genre Snaps Book Club. It is on Discord. Feel free to find the link wherever you see my link tree. It's the top little link on there. Mayfly is a horror novel that was released earlier this year, which I actually didn't realize. I thought it was an older book when I picked it because someone mentioned it. Rachel Harrison, when I was doing a QA with her, she mentioned this book. And so I don't know why I was thinking it was an older book, but 2023 by CJ Lead. It was inspired by American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellison, I think is who wrote it. And there was a movie. But the idea is that we've got a main character who is wealthy, and she is the granddaughter of old Hollywood and lives with her grandmother in Los Angeles. Grandma has been in unexpected coma for about a year, and Maeve is telling us a little bit about her life working as a princess in the happiest place in the world. Maeve is pretty distraught and disconnected because her grandma's so sick. And when her nurse tells Maeve that grandma should be allowed to pass on, it's our first glimpse into Maeve's killer tendencies. So she kills the nurse, and then we learn a little bit more about Maeve's personality. Her best friend, who also works at the parks, introduces Maeve to her brother. So Maeve and this guy have this connection, and Maeve she's hesitant at first because she hates people. She's really just misanthropic. Kate is the only person that she likes, but she loves the parks. She's sort of thrown into seeing Gideon, Kate's brother, a few times before they decide to sort of embark on this violent but gratifying sexual relationship with each other. Ultimately, though, Maeve really feels like she has to break it off with Gideon, and that sort of leads her down this path of complete rage, unchecked rage, that results in her basically going on a killing spree. I won't give away the ending, which was actually pretty touching. Not in a good way, I don't think. There's lots of triggers. It is a horror book. So killing, blood, guts, body parts, teeth, torture, kidnapping, drugs, eyeballs, the whole thing. It's really well written. It did take me a little bit, maybe a couple of chapters to really get into it, because it sort of opens in this scene where it's not really clear like what this is connected to. What are we getting a sense of here? Why do we care about these characters? And Maeve is ultimately not that likable of a character. She is, again, a serial killer who is rich and lost and wandering and trying to figure out how to hold on to these big feelings that she has. We don't know why she got kicked out of living with her parents' house. But that she lands on her grandmother's doorstep and is taken in, and the grandmother really becomes her lifeline and her connection to the world. And she's really struggling with the fact that her grandmother is dying. The book sort of gives us it's told from Maeve's point of view, and it gives us her unraveling over the course of this book, which is probably within the time span of about a month. There's a lot of the month before Halloween, in the year that it's set. There's a lot of this idea about women needing to control the wolf, right? So you need to be clever like a monkey. You don't let people see the wolf, because if they did, you wouldn't survive. So a lot of kind of how do you check your own stuff in there, particularly around gender. The stuff with the boyfriend is just really interesting, I think, especially as it relates to Maeve's own sort of impending psychotic break, that she is unknowable, unlovable, unseeable, and Gideon offers this glimpse of something different for her, even though he too is really just misunderstood, and he's a hockey player, and he's sort of the golden boy kind of a character. So she really misjudges him throughout the whole book. For the first discussion that happened, there were 4 of us on the chat, and we each ranked it somewhere between 3 and 4.5, with some surprises, some unexpected twists. I think it's got a lot of meat to it to discuss. I also saw a lot of sort of like themes and symbolism, but I mean, did CJ Lead intend for that or not? Who knows? When I saw Chuck Palahniuk on tour a couple of weekends ago, he talked a little bit about kind of the kinds of things that he has written and other horror writers have written when they are themselves going through some shit in their real life, or, you know, processing their own grief or loss or things like that. So it's interesting to me to think about kind of how some of these books are likely how authors are really coming to terms with or integrating or blending in some of the themes of their own lives with the lives of their characters. Although hopefully she is not a Maeve in the same way that Maeve is a Maeve. I'm also always interested in books like this, like when a serial killer, especially in the fiction genre, serial killers really aren't making too many efforts to hide who they are. That really pulls me out of the fictional world, because the world in which I live feels like you would need to hide what you're doing. So there are some things in the book that feel, if not over the top in how non-hidden it is, I guess. Especially in a world where there's cell phones and media and things like that. Anyway, I really enjoyed the book. I enjoyed it more, I think, reading it with an eye towards analysis, I guess, which isn't exactly the right word, but in thinking about it more and wanting to lead a discussion and all those kinds of things. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I hadn't really kind of been rooting myself into the book a little bit more. There's some stuff with some doll parts and some stuff with a bar that's almost entirely empty every time she goes in, except for the bartender, who makes her favorite drink and turns the music to her favorite music, which she did pay for. She pays him to do that. And then this one other lone guy that is usually just drunk on wine every time she comes in. So they're all really interesting things. Like, I could see sitting down like one-on-one with one other person and being like, but what did you think of this? What did you think of this for this book? And I could also see reading it and just kind of enjoying the crazy, fucked up, shit-tastic show that is Mayfly. So that was our first book for Genre Snaps Book Club, and I'm so glad I picked it, even though I had no idea what I was in for. The book that we're going to read next month is White Horse. So on the 22nd, we're going to meet in real life at the Little Theater Cafe at 6 o'clock. And then we're going to go see Sweeney Todd after that. So if you're in the area, I look forward to seeing you. And if not, the week after, which will be our regular monthly book chat for the book group, we will do a Discord chat. So find me, and I'll see you on the next one.